Hi and welcome to Monday again. Here we are. I think a good bit of advice at the start, which is let's all keep cool. We're doing our best here. It's not too bad inside at the moment. Of course, Alfie likes to be outside. So we've got the paddling pool full and we'll put it in the shade later. And I'm sure he certainly had some fun yesterday, spraying himself. And actually we didn't mind. We had another set of parents as well as ourselves, and we all got a bit wet yesterday. I think it's good weather for it. Not really easy to settle down to too much, so it's glad to have some of you here with me. And what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about safety play. Again, safety play, as we'll go through in the seminar, comes up in all forms of the game, but most pertinently, as it were, would be used in teams of 4 games, and of course that's what I do on the Wednesday. So those of you who are watching on Wednesday, I'll try and mention specifically over this month the hands that, you know, there might be safety plays on, or plays that are completely different to what you might do at pairs play. Interesting game last Wednesday, some strange things going on, but we had fun as usual, and so we'll do that again on the Wednesdays for the rest of this month and see what we find. On the Fridays at the moment we're on Staymanic things, so we did check back last Friday. We had a little look at check back. We'll be looking at the west, shall we say, of the check back Stayman, and that will be summing up this week, in the Friday, and then we'll look at hopefully some hands. So do send those of you who've been watching, do send some Stayman or check back or all sorts of hands that have to do with Staymanic things. Because of course we talked about 5-card Stayman as well. It's also good to see these things go wrong. So if you've had that go wrong, please do say. We've got our usual hand evaluation. And our that's our blind hand, should I say. What are we talking about in terms of what we're doing? What we're looking at in terms of the events, etc. We've had a little break in July. Hopefully it's cooled down a bit by August. But we got quite a few in August. So do look at those, the denim ones, the old barn. And I think in the old barn, let me just see what we've got on in the old barn. We've also got them going on later. So later on in the old barn, I've got some defence going on in November. And we've also got a responding to One No Trump with Dennis and Pearl there, with the Murphys. So there's 2 up in Lincolnshire there, so do look in those 2. And in terms of the overseas, we're thinking still about Mallorca in October. You can join John and Becca. We've also got Mallorca coming in April again, because we thought it was comfortable. We're basically looking to have a nice groups of about 32 or 40, those kind of numbers, and I think it's gonna work beautifully there. It's going to be a nice regular place for us to go for. I think you could really enjoy that. And the other thing we've got on there, we're going to be promoting summer 2023 soon. We're still trying to sell 2022, so don't just run past that. But 2023, we're going to have a program hopefully of 4 or 5 cruises for you. I know that I'm going to the fjords and I'm taking my family with me, so that's in August. So I'm going to be choosing a sort of summer holiday cruise each year, so that Alfie and Helen can come with me. We're actually going to visit at Alfie's school today with Alfie. We're going to go. Well, it was going to be after school, but the school is closing at 1 o'clock today, as opposed to later because of the weather. So we'll be going at about 1:30. So Alfie's excited about that. Pretty excited about school. His parents are quite excited about school as well. So having to work out how our life is going to work with school. So we'll see. Okay, so I think we are where we are. So what I'm going to do now is put up a blind hand. And I'm going to remember to press that button, because usually I do the blind hand and don't actually go to it. So let's just do the bidding on it. Basically, this one is just for interest's sake, because of course you do always have the option of asking your opponents, and I think this is what would happen on this hand. So it goes 1 No Trump, 2 spades from north, okay, which of course we know is alertable. 2 no trumps from south. 3 hearts from north. 5 diamonds. And that was the end of that. So I think probably if I didn't have any reason to bid, I wouldn't ask until the end of the auction on a hand like this, because this is the kind of auction that doesn't come up very often. Okay, so here, see if you can guess it. I will tell you what the bids mean when they come. The only clue I'll give you here is that I like to play 2 spades to do with the minors. So it'll always be something to do with the minors. So either a weak hand with the minors. It can also be flat hands as well with 19 counts or 11 counts or 12 counts or whatever you prefer, but particularly with the minors. So that's the idea. And we'll come across it. You may not have come across it. It's quite useful to come across different kinds of auctions because it can just help you without needing to ask until the end. Remember, when you're on lead here, I'm going to ask what the bid means, but I'm not necessarily going to be asking what any of them mean during the auction, because all I'm going to do is help. Okay, remember it's the blind auction, Brighton Tiger, so we will look at the auction later. Your job is to try and guess what the cards are. We will open them up later on. Okay. So let me just nip over to here. So we're going to look at safety play again, a little discussion of it. And we're going to see what we think. I'm going to use a couple of hands as examples. So we're set up now. So safety play. Why play safe? We've discussed this, of course, and this is what we're discussing on the site. It's going to make a lot of difference which game you're playing, and particularly playing teams, we're not interested in over tricks. Okay, so playing teams, very often we will make an over trick if we can safely, but we're quite happy to play safe to protect our contract if we're not worried about an over trick. Playing pairs, that's not going to happen, and as we're going to see, particularly the first hand on this one, we're going to see that we would play it differently. Different contracts makes a lot of difference. So if you're playing duplicate pairs, your normal game of pairs, if you're in an unusual contract, you'll often want to play safe because you'll get a good score for playing safe. So it does occur in both forms of the game, but it's much more common in the teams of 4. And as I say, hopefully we'll come across some in the next few Wednesdays, and we'll chat about them live for those of you who are watching. So what on earth do I mean play safe? How do you play safe? Well, you plan for things to go wrong. By looking at a contract and being pessimistic, you can often find your best line. However, playing pairs, quite often our job is to be optimistic. So that's the difference. So when you play teams, rubber bridge as well, you tend to be a pessimistic declarer and make your best effort to make the contract if everything is wrong. So therefore, you would often plan for a bad trump break or a bad break in a side suit. Okay. Another way of looking at it is this. This contract looks really easy. What could go wrong? Try and ask yourself that question. It's quite an important question when you're playing teams of 4, when you declare up. So there's things you can do. You can duck early in a suit. You can refuse a finesse because you don't want the opponent on lead, the wrong opponent on lead. So a bit like an avoidance play there. Okay, so that might give a trick away because if the finesse works, of course you'd have made an extra trick, but you're protecting yourself. Okay, and of course keeping trump control. So that actually marries with the top bit in orange, planning for bad breaks. Well, if it's a bad trump break you're planning for, the reason you're doing it is so that you can keep trump control, which is something that tends to go wrong playing pairs. So playing pairs, because you're aiming for your maximum, if trumps break badly, you can end up going a long way off in a contract. Whereas playing teams, we don't need those over tricks, so we can plan for a bad break. So let's look at our first hand for today. Here you go. It's 4 hearts by West. And the lead is the 10 of spades. See what you think. I'm going to show you here first on the PowerPoint, and then I'll move to the Q Plus software. So the 10 of spades is led. What's your plan? Well, actually, there's only 5 top tricks, as Suzanne pointed out, so it feels a bit long way to go, but it looks pretty simple. You have solid clubs, so you're going to make 3 extra club tricks, and you have solid hearts, so you can only lose 1 of them. So you're going to make 2 extra heart tricks, definitely, and 3 extra club tricks. So I think making 10 tricks is easy. So what you've got to ask yourself is, what can go wrong? Well, it looks like you can only lose a club, a diamond, and a heart. Okay. So again, we're going to do 2 different things here. If we're playing teams, we are going to play safe. If we're playing pairs, we are going to aim for an over trick. And it turns out that playing pairs, you might go down, and playing teams, you're definitely going to make. So in teams, of course, we are going to play the ace, king of hearts here, and draw as many trumps as possible. Because I think the only way you can go down is if your opponents get a ruff, as someone pointed out, the risk of a club ruff. Well, in theory, let's say we take, for me, if I'm playing pairs, this is a nice and straightforward contract. I might cash the ace of hearts first, then take a finesse, but I'm going to take a heart finesse. It just seems the normal thing to do. Okay, if the finesse works, I will likely make an over trick. I will only lose 1 diamond and 1 club. Okay, and it's important to go for the over trick. The problem is, what happens if things go wrong? So my plan is to draw as many trumps as possible. Okay, the idea being that if we draw as many as possible, okay, then they're less likely to be able to ruff. So I would play the ace and king of hearts and play a heart to the 10. If the hearts break well, you just lose 1 heart trick, but you don't lose a ruff. Okay, and that's the key here. If you take a heart finesse and it works, and remember, you've got to be pessimistic as a declarer in teams of 4 bridge, or if you're, as I say, playing aggregate or Chicago or whatever you like to play. So here you are saying to yourself, well, okay, let's assume the Queen of Hearts is wrong. If it's wrong, they could win this trick and they might be able to get a ruff. Because look, we've got 8 clubs. If one of them has got 4, the other one has 1. Okay, so let's say I ran the 10. Well, let's go to the Q plus. Okay, I'll just quickly take you through the bidding just so you're happy with that. So it goes 1 heart. I think I would open just 1 heart with that hand. It is quite strong though. It's not too far off for a 2 club for those of you in the Benji system. But I like to have a 6th heart and 19 points probably. So it goes 1 heart. 1 no trump from East. I think that's important. With a flat hand, I know you've got 3 card heart support. When I've got a flat hand, I like, and what I mean by flat is 4, 3, 3, 3. I would bid it. Here, I would jump to 3 clubs with the West Ham partner. I want to be in a game. Okay, you choose which game. Partner bids 3 hearts. And then we finish in 4 hearts. So, okay, I guess East could bid 4 hearts. But... okay, so we finished in 4 hearts that way. Nice auction. Okay, as I say, if I'm flat 4, 3, 3, 3, I prefer a 1 no trump response to a 2 heart response on a hand like that. Okay, so we started the play. The 10 of spades was led. And there's 2 ways you could play it. Playing pairs, it would be very tempting to... you might decide to cash the ace of hearts first, cross over to the king of spades, and then run the 10 of hearts. Because if the finesse works, I'm very, very, very happy. Okay? Can you see that? It doesn't work, and now look what happens. There's just a possibility. We'll drop the 10, maybe that will help. But no. And they've got a ruff. What a disaster. Okay, so at pairs, you've got to try and go for the maximum, but every so often you'll go off. Now, you're not going to go off often. You are only going to go off here if North has the Queen of Hearts, one of them has a singleton club, and the ace opposite, and they find the switch to clubs. So I don't think North has a singleton club, because he'd have probably led it. So he has to switch to the ace of clubs here and get a club ruff. So well done. Furthermore, South has to have 3 hearts and North has to have specifically the Queen Doubleton. So the chances of going off are very, very unlikely indeed. So playing pairs, you're not taking much of a risk here, taking the finesse. I would say only 10% of the time will you go down, whereas 50% of the time you are going to make your over trick, because South will have the Queen. Can you see that? So it's 5 times more likely that you'll make an over trick than you won't. Does that make sense? And what that means is you must go for the over trick, because playing pairs, every trick counts. 5 times you'll get a top and 1 time you get a bottom. Playing teams, 5 times you gain 1 imp. 1 time when you play safe, you gain 12 imps. Because you will make 620. At the other table, they take the risky finesse, they lose 100. That's 720. I think that's 13 imps, actually. That's 13 times more than 1 over trick. So playing teams, or Rubber Bridge or Chicago, whatever, those kind of games where sort of your aggregate points matter, not the incremental sort of just 30 points for an over trick. Let's just see how I was going to play it. So the 10 of spades was led. I would just win the ace, and I'm going to play the ace of hearts and just play them off the top. And what's interesting is every so often you actually make an extra trick. Because of course North started with the Queen Doubleton, and it turns out that we drop the Queen. Now I'm not planning to drop the Queen, but of course sometimes you will. Okay? And of course that would be the end of the contract. We'll give them, remember, we've got to lose a diamond and we've got to lose a club, but we'd end up making 11 tricks. So it's worthwhile bearing that in mind, that sometimes when you make a safety play, you actually gain. Okay. Someone asking about teams, it's all about scoring. So it's any form of the game, it's all about the scoring. So what do I mean by aggregate scoring, for example? That's when you add your scores up in the whole evening. Well, the difference between 620 on this board and 650 is not a huge amount. The difference between 620 and minus 100 is huge. That's 720. Okay. Ruben asking here, absolutely, it's true. Ruben suggesting that North might get the lead and underlead the ace, hoping his partner had King Doubleton or something like that. I think on the point counts, knowing that West has a 19 count, that's less likely probably. But it could be the case. Partner could have the King of Clubs, so they could get it wrong anyway. So I think the chance of you going down is very, very unlikely. Okay. So here, that's your first one. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. And as I say, hopefully, if you're watching the teams, and don't forget you can get the teams on special offer even if you're not a member this week. Come along, and what we'll do hopefully is there'll be a few hands where I can demonstrate, because of the scoring, why we might want to play it differently. Okay, so here, let's just move on to our next hand there. So this time we're in 4 spades. It's 4 spades, but after South has opened a 3 diamond preempt. I should say I'll just quickly check. I think we're both vulnerable. Yeah, both sides are vulnerable. Both sides are vulnerable. Okay. And as I say, South opened 3 diamonds and you've got to make a plan. So if you can make a plan for me, that would help. What do you think? Well, let's see what the lead is. No surprise there. Ace of diamonds. And they continue with another diamond. So you've got to make your plan. So there are 7 top tricks. So there is the ace, king, queen, jack, 10 of hearts there. So, you know, that is 5 solid tricks and two top tricks in clubs. So that's 7. You are going to make 4 more tricks in spades here. So this is a simple contract, isn't it? Okay, and this is the crucial time where playing teams, you have to think. Okay, playing teams, you think, okay, look, this is simple. What could go wrong? Okay, so on a hand like this, the only thing that can go wrong is that trumps break badly. Okay, the only thing that could go wrong is that trumps can go badly. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we can afford, we've got a spare trick here, haven't we? The only 2 losers I can see are in diamonds and spades. Does that make sense? So you can discard your 2 little clubs in the west hand on your winning heart. So as long as you can draw trumps, okay, there are no problem. If trumps break 5-0, I'm afraid to say you are going to struggle here. Okay, I think you're going to struggle. However, if trumps break 4-1, that is the crucial one. However, all you need to do is keep 5 trumps. And that's not that difficult, is it? How do you keep 5 trumps? You just don't ruff the second trick. Okay. Now this is really tricky, playing pairs. Because playing pairs, you're thinking to yourself, what are the odds that the trumps break 4-1? Bearing in mind, South has opened 3 diamonds. It's probably pretty similar because you've got 8 hearts as well, don't forget. You've got 8 hearts as well, so it's not as if spades was your only long suit, you might think, oh, maybe North's going to have more, but it's probably, on this hand, it's funny enough, it's not a loser on loser because you haven't got a loser to throw, but we'll see. So here, my job, if I'm playing pairs, is to guess what the trump break is, and I think it's more likely to be 3-2 than 4-1. So if I'm playing pairs, I will probably go down in this contract. I will ruff the second diamond, draw trumps, and if they break 3-2, I make 11 tricks, and if they don't break 3-2, I go down, and we'll see how you go down in a moment. Okay, playing teams, you have to be pessimistic. So here, you assume there's a 4-1 break. Now, as I say, you never assume a break so bad that you can't make the contract. And if they're 5-0, I'm afraid to say you're unlikely to be able to make the contract. You'll try drawing trumps, but on the 3rd round, North can win his ace, and then they just carry on playing diamonds, and there's not much you can do. But on a 4-1 break, there is something we can do. Okay, let's go to the. Oh, sorry, hold on. Let me just go back. So as I say, we're planning for a bad trump break. Our job is to keep trump control. So let's go to the table. We'll see how the auction goes. As I say, South opened 3 diamonds. What do you fancy with the west hand? What do you fancy with the west hand? And I think it's borderline here. But with a shortage in diamonds, I think you've got to bid something here. And when I've got 5-3 in the majors, I prefer to bid the major. I don't mind pass, and I don't mind double. To be honest, I'm quite happy with one of the 3. I think pass is okay as well. You're vulnerable. You know, but it's tricky. Take the 10 and 9 of spades away, make them smaller ones. I'm starting to think that maybe I wouldn't overcall 3 spades, but that inner strength would probably encourage me to bid 3 spades. And we finish in 4 spades. Okay. or some Norths might have bid 4 diamonds here, but this one didn't. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think 4 diamonds might have been a reasonable bid from North, but anyway. So it's gone 3 spades, 4 spades, and as you've seen, we've had the lead of the ace of diamonds. We play small. The first trick is nice and easily, but unfortunately they lead another diamond. So what do we do here? Well, what I'm going to do is play safe, and we'll see why. So I'm going to discard a club. Now, in a way, it's sometimes called a loser on loser play, but of course on this occasion it's not so much a loser. We're not really discarding a losing club, because actually I don't expect to lose a club. So I am giving a trick away here. But the point is, if they lead another diamond, I can ruff that diamond in the east hand. Okay, keeping 5 trumps in my hand. Okay, so let's see what they do next. Not unreasonably, they switch. So obviously at this point there's a chance there might be a club ruff, but we're sort of trying to get the balance. So we might, you know, but all we can do now is just try and draw trumps as soon as possible. Okay, so you know, the safety plays can go wrong. No, that's good news. So let's just draw trumps. They are breaking 4-1. North is being stubborn here, but we're quite happy. We can just carry on drawing trumps because we can ruff. Okay, well, I mean, we'll look at the whole hand now. North's chosen not to ruff. What's important here is we must play another spade. So North is being cunning here, trying to stop us getting to our winning hearts. Because if you make the mistake, quite a lot of players here would, they think, oh, well, there's only the ace of spades left out, I might as well play my heart winners. If you play the queen of hearts, the jack of hearts, and then the ace of hearts, North can ruff with the ace of spades. And we would be left with a club loser. Instead, we draw the last trump. Okay, and now, of course, we're safe. Okay, we win the king of clubs, and we have 5 heart winners. Nice and simple. So let's go back. I'll just quickly go back and make sure that we're happy with the play. So we're in 4 spades. Let's just see what happens if we ruff. And I think it's a reasonable playing pace. It's a very close call. But if more than 50% you expect to make, I think it's not unreasonable to ruff and just draw trumps. Okay, I'm going to defend for the defenders. I'd forgotten that they might not defend optimally. So you play a spade and the jack wins, and you're going to play another spade, of course. You can probably play a small one, I guess. And you get the bad news. What are you going to do now? Well, the 9 of spades wins. It's your play. What are you going to do? On this hand, either, yeah, double works really well because your partner's got 5 hearts. It doesn't work well if your partner's got 4 hearts and 3 spades. That's the key. Okay. So you've got to bear that in mind. When you double and you've only got a 3-card major and a 5, you're not likely to that often find the right fit. That's the problem. So this is a problem now. How are you going to play the hand as West? Can you see the problem you've got? Okay. It's quite tricky because if you play another spade, let's do it. Yeah, he jumped to 4 hearts, David. He would jump to 4 hearts, but so let's say we play another spade, nice and easy. North can now win that, of course. Okay, and he can just play diamonds. Can you see we have lost trump control? So he plays diamonds. Well, no, we'll keep a club just in case. Hold on. Plays diamonds. We throw a heart, I guess. And unfortunately, we're stuffed, aren't we? Because if we ruff, well, then North's got the winning trump and he can ruff the 3rd round of hearts. So, and if we don't ruff, well, they carry on playing diamonds. So that's no good. So instead, of course, you try playing hearts. But I'm afraid to say that's not going to work either, because North can ruff the third round and then play the ace of spades, the nasty man. Okay, South's got to be careful keeping the right cards. And now, of course, they play a diamond. And what happens when you lose control is you actually go quite a long way off, because you end up losing, you lose control of trumps. The trumps are gone, so you ruff that. Sorry, I should have, apologies. As someone said, you should hope that the queen is doubletons, so you would keep the ace of hearts there. Can you see the problem here? So you've still got a chance. De Clara still has a chance. Okay. And we'll have a look at South's bid in a moment, David. Tim, absolutely. So if the queen falls here, you still make the contract. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And because you've lost control of trumps, the last two tricks are your opponents, and they make the king of diamonds and the queen of clubs. So there, instead, you would end up just making 8. Now, interesting opening by South. So it's what I quite like to do. So some of you will play a 2 diamond opening with that hand, a weak 2 diamonds. I will often open 3 diamonds when I have a strong 6 card diamond suit. Well done, North, for not bidding 5 diamonds. Q Plus did with this hand. When you're vulnerable, you have got a 10 card diamond fit. However, as Tim points out, if partner's got 7 diamonds, you've got an 11 card fit. However, I'm more likely to bid 5 diamonds if it goes 3 diamonds double, because now the opponents haven't found their fit. When it goes 3 diamonds, 3 spades, I'm not sure it's going to be easy for them to play 4 spades, as you've just seen. So bidding 5 diamonds, particularly playing pairs here, if you bid 5 diamonds, I think you're going to go too far off in 5 diamonds anyway. You go doubled 3 off, but not only that, as we've seen, I think a lot of people will go off in 4 spades. So always be a little bit careful of sacrificing when you don't think trumps are breaking. We saw this last Wednesday in the teams where someone tried to sacrifice. It cost them too much. And at the same time, they had a void in trumps. So the opponent's contract could have been quite difficult. So there was the layout originally. Someone talking about doubling the 3 diamond opening bid with this kind of hand. It can work if partner's got 5 hearts. The problem you have here is that if partner's got 4 hearts and 4 spades, you will finish in hearts. Because when you double, you don't double and then change your mind. Double is asking partner to bid his best suit. And then you say, okay, partner, we'll play in that. So bear in mind that if you double with the West hand and partner bids hearts, you should be finishing in hearts. Now on this hand, it works out okay. But if your partner has 4 hearts and 4 spades, and a weak hand, he will just bid 3 hearts. Now, if he had a strong hand, he might be able to bid 4 diamonds. That's another matter, okay? But also, of course, if your partner's got 4 hearts and 3 spades, you're going to find the wrong contract. Okay, because you'll have an 8 card fit in spades. So it's only really ever going to work out is it if when your partner's got 5 hearts and fewer than 3 spades, which will happen sometimes. What I said was, if I took the 10 and 9 of spades away and made them the 5 and 2, I'd feel my spades were just too weak to overcall, and I probably would double then. You're trying to work out the best way of finding the best fit you've got. Okay, and 3 spades could go horribly wrong on this hand. As it happens, it's okay here. Bear in mind that, you know, things might not be so comfortable in spades either. On this hand, I don't think 4 hearts is going to make. Can you see why? Okay, 4 hearts is going to go off trivially, unfortunately, because of course it's a very easy lead for South. Can you see that? I can take you back to the hand. Let me just show you that. But unfortunately in 4 hearts, it's going to be a spade to the ace, a spade ruff, a diamond to the ace, and and a spade ruff. So you would be unlucky in 4 hearts. So don't necessarily think that 4 hearts is a better contract here. There's no safety play available, unfortunately, for you in 4 hearts. You just get a little bit unlucky there. Okay, but of course, generally that's what we're worried about, bad breaks. So it is a tricky idea. It really is a tricky idea, this, where you're basically, when you play pairs bridge, you are an optimistic declarer. When you play teams bridge, you are generally a pessimistic declarer. And that's what you've got to get used to. So that is the fundamental difference between the 2 games when you're declaring. And in fact, it's the same when you're defending. As a defender playing pairs, I'm always pessimistic. I never want to give a trick away. So I think the opponents have always got the key card. Playing teams of 4 bridge when I'm defending, I'm hoping partner's got it. I'm an optimist. So it's crazy. But that is the difference between the 2 forms of the game. Okay. Okay, I'll just get us back to, I think that's the right place. I've just, bear with me, just got to make everybody invisible on my screen. Okay, we're back to the blind hand then. So let's have a look at that. This one is, as I say, this is really based upon a bidding system that you've probably not come across. So let's see. So it went 1 no trump. Let's remind ourselves, 1 no trump, 2 spades, which was alerted. And 2 spades was alerted to show many things. So some of you will play like this. 2 spades shows all sorts of things in their system, including a weak hand with a minor. It goes 2 no trumps from south, 3 hearts, and then 5 diamonds. Okay, I'm going to show you the hands. So let's open up the auction. So these are the hands, and as I used to play this system myself, I'll admit, 5-5 hands in the minors don't come up very often. But they are nightmarish if your partner opens 1 no trump, because you never have a way of bidding them. And of course, as we know, 5-5 hands are very exciting. So with this hand, North is pretty excited. He's got a 5 loser hand. He knows he has a fit in one of the suits. And most of us, to be honest, the correct natural response to 1 no trump is 3 no trumps. So the response I would make to 1 no trump playing natural system is 3 no trumps. And on this occasion, we'd lose the first 6 tricks, actually 5 tricks, because there's a blockage in hearts. Okay, so here, what I used to play though was 2 spades, partner. I have something in the minors. I either have a weak hand with the minors. Please understand, this is not easy, and I do not expect any of you to play it particularly. What I'm suggesting is that you may come across this if you play competitive bridge sometimes. 2 spades says partner. Bid 2 no trumps for me, and I'll show you what my hand is. I'm either weak in clubs, weak in diamonds. You can have various point counts. I know some of you like that, showing specifically 19 or specifically 11 or that kind of thing. However, partner, if I bid a suit, I'll always have the minors. So 3 clubs is weak with clubs, 3 diamonds is weak with diamonds. And in this system, they use a bid of a major to show a singleton or void in that suit, and lots of cards in the minors. Okay, so in this auction, 3 hearts by North is saying, partner, I've got a singleton or void in hearts. Can you judge what the best contract is? I've got lots of cards in the minors. It promises 5-5. Okay, so it's saying, partner, I've got two minor suits here and shortage in hearts. Clearly, you might have King, Queen, Jack of hearts, partner. And if you have, we should probably play in 3 no trumps. Okay. Okay. However, you know, this is unnecessarily complicated. So please don't think you're going to just suddenly play this thing, because this will come up once a year. Okay, and it'll probably go 3 hearts, 4 hearts. Okay. Okay, so bear that in mind. Okay, but the idea here is that North just wants to show his excitement about minors, which we don't usually. Playing normal auction will go 1 no trump, 3 no trumps, and you'll lose the first 5 tricks. I'll expect this to be. This isn't McKendrick, shall I say that? So McKendrick is one of the versions of 2 spade bid. This is quite a complicated thing. This 3 heart and 3 spade bid would be something very different. Okay. And all it's saying, it's giving you a chance to show strong hands with minors. Okay. It's not going to come, but it's a variation. You know, most 2 spade bids are played relatively simply, but of course 2 spades is a forcing bid. You can play it as complicated as you like. So this is what north-south were doing. Again, I wouldn't have asked what these bids were meaning during the auction, but at the end of it I'd say, so yeah, can you tell me? And it's much easier that, because they can tell you. Okay, and basically south would explain that he expects his partner to hold at least 5 clubs and at least 5 diamonds. Okay, and as you can see, so here, I mean, south has bid 5 diamonds. I mean, basically because although he knows that 5 of a minor is the best contract, he doesn't believe there to be much chance of a slam, that's all. Although he's maximum, he just hasn't got the aces to think about it. Okay, so, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not going to come up enough to worry. Okay, it's not going to come up to worry, but this is the kind of thing you might come across. Okay, so that's a little bit of an obscure blind hand there, so I apologise for that. So what are we going to... We've got the bidding quiz to come, so let's have a look at that, and then we'll sum up and try to keep you cool. Okay, so your bidding quiz for this week: 1 club you open, 1 club you open, and then it accelerates. It goes a heart, a spade, 2 hearts. So you open a club, it goes a heart, a spade, 2 hearts. Okay, so you can see the answer, of course, on the site, whether a member or not, so do look that one up. A club, a heart, a spade, 2 hearts, and see what you fancy there. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that today. As I say, we're going to this Wednesday. Don't forget, it is I think it's your special offer. Let me just see where that is. I think it's there. Yeah, so you've got the option, those of you who aren't members, of getting your teams half price. So I think it only cost you £3 this week. So I would recommend that. And what we're going to look, I'm going to try and keep an eye on the safety plays that are going on, and the plays that will be different between pairs and teams. So we should have some fun there, hopefully. And hopefully it'll be a little bit cooler, not sure. I certainly wouldn't have wanted to be playing teams tonight in my little office here, which looks delightful, but I have a feeling it might be quite warm tonight. And so we'll see. Okay, oh, Brian Davies is one again. Well done, Brian. Excellent. Brian's our prize winner. So hopefully you'll be able to join us. I'll be sending all the prize winners over the last 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, a message. So don't forget. Please remember, anybody entering the prize quiz, you will get a chance when you win, I'm sure. Okay, because I know I bump into people saying, I've won it 10 times. We're making it random now, and you know, a few people now are having a chance. Okay. All right, and I have got all 4 cards up. You're right. I've got the beginners to come, so I'll say goodbye to you now. Those of you who want to hang on and join me for a bit more beginners, please do. Otherwise, I'll see you throughout the week, and as I say, hopefully you all keep cool, but enjoy the weather. Remember, we're not allowed to moan. We're not allowed to moan. We've got to enjoy it. Okay, but I hope you will keep safe. That's the important thing. Keep safe, keep cool, and drink lots of water. Okay. So we are on opener's second bid still. This time, and this is what's so tricky when we're learning bridge, is that every word changes the language. Now, I'm going to be honest, it's the same with a language, isn't it? It's amazing how, you know, in language, I mean, one example is I'm trying to think of didn't take. So when you put the did in there, you've put the past tense, and then you put the take. So poor old, you know, Alfie will put didn't took or something like that. When you're learning it, you forget that one bid changes the next bid, and so languages are all the same. You know, when we're trying Italian, you think you've understood the thing, and then you realise a word later or earlier in the sentence has changed things. So as a rebidder, we're talking about opener rebidding, but of course it changes if your partner's made a very specific response. So imagine your partner responds 1 no trump. 1 heart from you, 1 no trump. You had, as I've asked you to, planned your rebid. Unfortunately, some of those plans are going to have to change, because our job as a partnership is for one of us to tell the other how many points they've got. Well, your partner's just done that, hasn't he? What has 1 no trump shown? 1 no trump shows 6 to 9 points. So that's going to put you in a position to judge, perhaps, whether you should be in game or not. So in theory, I think you might choose to, you could even choose to pass that. Does that make sense? I mean, if you had only 13 points, perhaps, you might think, well, I know game is not on, and maybe we haven't got a fit. So let's play on 1 no trump. So that's really difficult, because when I was talking about openers rebid, I said you must bid again. You must plan to bid again. But the only time you have to bid again is when your partner changes the suit. When your partner bids 1 no trump, you are now in a position perhaps to choose the right contract yourself. So it's really tricky. Okay, so your job here is to assess the partnership strength, decide whether there is a chance for game, and then you've also got to decide whether we're playing in trumps or no trumps. So of course, when you open 1 heart, you might have a very distributional hand. You might have 5 hearts and 5 clubs. Well, of course, you're definitely not going to settle on no trumps. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples and see where we might get. So here, first and foremost here, 15 points, I want you to make your plan. Okay, so with 15 points, you're too strong for a 1 no trump opening bid. Okay, so remember, those of you who are a little bit more advanced, you might have a different technique that might change your evaluation, but we're just looking at the sort of high card point strength here. So with 15 points, too strong to open 1 no trump. So here you are planning to open 1 heart and then rebid 1 no trump. Okay, which is a good plan. So if it goes 1 heart, 1 spade from your partner, you will rebid 1 no trump. However, your partner responds 1 no trump. So what we do here is we add our points together. Partner's shown 6 to 9. 15 plus 6 to 9. Can we make a game? No, the answer is no. We can't make a game. What denomination do you want to play in? Well, if partner liked hearts, partner would have bid hearts. You have a flat hand, which is balanced. It wants to play in no trumps. You wanted to rebid no trumps. The key is, I think you know no trumps is the right denomination, and I think you know that you don't want to go for game. So I'm not going to bid 2 no trumps here because I plan to bid no trumps. I'm just going to leave it in 1 no trump. So it's tricky, isn't it? You had a plan, but your partner sort of ruined your plan. Okay, so here you would pass. Partner, I think we're in the right denomination, and I think we're high enough. And there you go, you'd finish in 1 no trump. Your opponents will take a few spades, but I think you should be able to cover the other suits and hopefully make your 7 tricks in 1 no trump. Wouldn't want to be much higher though, I don't think. Okay. So 2 awful hands there. Someone's saying 4-3-3-3 hands we don't like. That's something that we'll come to learn as we get more and more into bridge. And of course you make fewer tricks when you have 4-3-3-3 hands. Let's look at this one. Okay, now this is always tricky. I love opening 1 heart when I have strong majors. So if I have King, Queen, Jack, 5, I'm going to open 1 heart. Some of you may get taught to open this 1 no trump. Okay, for me, whenever I've got a strong 5 card major, I'm always going to bid it. And if necessary, I will plan to rebid 2 hearts with this hand, which I think is a great descriptive bid. Partner, I've got my sort of 12 to 15 points and I've got a good heart suit. However, on this occasion, it goes 1 no trump. So it goes 1 heart, 1 no trump. So what do you think you'd bid this time? Well, again, you've got a relatively balanced shape. You add up the points again. You don't think there's game. Same, 6 to 9. The most partner can have is 9. That's 23 points. That is not enough for game. If partner doesn't like hearts particularly, I think leaving it in no trumps is the best thing. Okay. And so I think we would again just pass. So although we'd made a plan, our partner's bid will often change that plan. Okay. It only changes it if partner doesn't bid a new suit. So what kind of bids could partner do to change our plan? Partner could raise 1 heart to 2 hearts. Or partner could respond in no trumps. And we'll look at some of those responses that partner does at a later time. So 1 heart, 1 no trump, pass. Okay, there's your partner's hand. Of course, remember, the 1 no trump bid does not necessarily have to be balanced. Apologise for there being 2 of hearts there. If you can imagine, there's the 3 of hearts in the east hand there. Okay, so don't worry too much about that. Okay, but you can see that partner doesn't have to have support for your hearts at all. What we discussed when we were responding is that if we don't have 10 points, we are not allowed to bid at the 2 level. So here, East chose to respond 1 no trump correctly, not 2 diamonds, because a 2 diamond bid will take the bid to bidding too high. Okay, so 1 no trump is a great contract. How about this one? Just to finish off. I think we might have 2 more actually. So this one, you'll open 1 heart. It goes 1 no trump again. And it's not unreasonable to give partner the choice of 2 suits. You have 5 hearts and you have 4 clubs. And I think you'd prefer to play in a suit rather than a no trump contract. Does that make sense? You don't want to go into game, but you think that the best part score might be clubs or hearts. So the choice here is the denomination. And with an unbalanced hand, with 2 very weak suits, you would prefer to play in clubs or hearts. Partner, can you choose which one you'd prefer? And as you can see here, your partner would prefer clubs and your partner would actually pass 2 clubs. Does that make sense? Okay. Again, imagine the 3 of hearts is in the east hand there. Okay, so you'd finish in 2 clubs there. And that's brilliant bidding, isn't it? You've only got 20 points between you, so you don't want to be too high, and you've got 8 clubs between you. So if you were playing mini bridge, you would have seen the 2 hands laid down and you'd have said, okay, I want to play in clubs please, but I only want to make a part score. Okay, in mini bridge you'd only have had to make 7 tricks. Unfortunately, because we've had an auction, we end up having to play for 8 tricks, but I think you've got an okay chance, hopefully. Do a bit of roughing. And the last hand then of today, this time you've got 19 points. So you open 1 heart and you plan to rebid with a jump to 2 no trumps. However, your partner bids 1 no trump. What are you going to do? Well, you add your points together. 19 plus 6, the lowest you could be is 25. The highest is 28. Everything says game. You've got a balanced hand. I know you've got 2 4-card suits, but we regard that as balanced. The previous hand was 5 and 4. So here, I think I'm just going to bid 3 no trumps. Partner, I know the denomination, and I know that we should be in game. Bang, 3 no trumps. And again, a nice discussion between you. The 1 no trump bid makes the discussion easier because it tells us how many points our partner's got. Partner's got 7 on this occasion. That's plenty, and hopefully game shouldn't be difficult. You can knock out the ace of hearts there, and I think you're going to make a reasonable chance of making 9 tricks, hopefully making 4 club tricks. So I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, that was us trying to look at the way that the auction changes when you get what we call a limit bid. So East on those hands limited his hand to between 6 and 9 points, which then allows us, hopefully, to work out what kind of level we should be in. Are you happy that if you open one heart and your partner responds one spade, he has not limited his hand? He could have anything from 6 points to 20 odd, because he knows that when he changes the suit, you will make another bid. So he starts simply by changing the suit. However, any no trump bids in auctions tend to show specific points, and that is when the language is changed. It's tricky, but I hope you enjoyed that one, and we will see you for another one soon. Thank you.